I have several questions that I want to get to, but first, as I noted in my opening statement, the House Republicans passed a measure 2 weeks ago that would have devastating impacts on our educational system, from preschool all the way through college. Right. Very briefly, is there anything you would like to add about what a $17.5 billion cut might mean for education programs in the schools and educators and students and families that they support that I didn't mention or that you want to reemphasize?
Well, I think it's important to remember, as we recover from the pandemic academically, and, I think in a very bipartisan fashion, agree that there's a level of urgency that's needed to make sure our students not only recover but achieve higher levels. The programs that would be impacted the most are Title I, which is support for our schools where students are struggling in reading, and IDEA, which are for students who need extra support because they're students with disabilities. Two groups that have been most impacted by the pandemic. We're talking thousands of teachers being cut. The education budgets are human resources, right? When I was a district leader, 80–90% of our budget was on educators. So this drastic cut would limit the number of teachers we have available to support students at a time when our kids need it most and when we're facing a shortage already.
Secretary Cardona, you and I visited Northeast Wisconsin Technical College together a few years ago. And I appreciate your focus on career and technical education in this budget. Studies have shown that students who take CTE courses in high school are more likely to graduate high school and pursue a post-secondary education, among other benefits of those studies. At the same time, I want to ensure Perkins funding supports state and local communities and the innovation that is happening there. Right. So can you expand on your request for the Career-Connected High School program and how you see that leveraging resources provided through the core Perkins Title I state grants program?
Sure. I do remember that visit. It was a great visit. One thing that I find as a common theme when I visit, whether it's high schools that have career exploration programs or universities, the level of student engagement is through the roof. Students want to be there. They're excited. That visit, I remember visiting Florida maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago in Miami. There was a program where there were like 25 different options for students. And earlier, I don't know if it was this week or maybe Thursday or Friday of last week, there was a school in Hampton, Virginia that I visited where students had pathways to careers. So we feel strongly that the additional dollars, $200 million for competitive grants for LEAs, is also intended to what I call evolve our high schools. Our high schools are designed in many ways like they were 2 pandemics ago. We have to do better. I call it evolving them to make sure that they're connected to our 2-year schools, to our pathways into career. I went to a technical high school and I studied automotive technology for 4 years. The engagement was really high, and I think we have to really address the stigma in this country that creating pathways is telling students where they're going to end up. It's providing options. I had options when I graduated. I went to a 4-year school. So what we're trying to do is really take what we know is working in our 2-year schools because they're more malleable to the industry needs and the regional workforce needs, and saying, why don't we start earlier and start giving our high school students an opportunity to get college credits so they feel like they belong in college, but also do it in a way that aligns it to some of the regional workforce needs that they might experience in the future. And I have to say, Senator, I'm excited about the potential in this country for the jobs that are going to be coming, the careers that are going to be coming with some of the Invest in America strategies. And it's really important that it's not only good for students, but it's important for our country that we evolve our high schools. So the funding that we're asking for is to really accelerate that and make sure we're lifting up good models in high schools as well.
With the ranking member's indulgence, I have a follow-on on the same topic. It'll be easier. So,
Yeah.
Thank you. States have shown what they can do when they have flexibility with additional resources for career and technical
Yeah.
education, including with American Rescue Plan funding. It allows states to expand work-based learning opportunities, including registered apprenticeships. It allows states to expand regional career pathway programs, which is what Wisconsin is doing with its Perkins funding. What are some of the innovative ways that you have seen states and school districts and communities and technical colleges using their Perkins funding?
Sure. So what I'm seeing happening in our country, and it's a step in the right direction, is we're moving from pockets of excellence that are dependent on people that really get it, or people that maybe had experience in the industry, and now it's becoming systematized. So what they're doing is they're creating industry workforce boards that work with higher education institutions and K-12 institutions to come together to say, what does good programming look like? What are the critical skills that we need our students to learn? And there's an engagement at an earlier level behind the scenes, before the students get to the schools. So I'm seeing an investment there. I'm seeing curricular development that is focused on the skills that are needed to have success in the workforce. I visited Columbus State Community College in Ohio, and I was able to have a roundtable, and there was I think it was the vice president for Intel, the community college president, the superintendent of the K-12 system, and they were talking to me about how they meet regularly, how folks from Intel are working with the college and the K-12 system. So for me, systematizing the work is the direction that we're going, and I'm proud that the dollars would be used for that.
Thank you.